All right, what's up, party people? We got another new friend in here, Julian Dickinson, the world-class screw-up, as he likes to call himself. When he told me that, I was like, yes, I love it. So, guys, that's called a damaging admission. It builds up a lot of trust. Highly recommend you do it in your sales. Tell people what you are very bad at. Like, look, I can't help you with this. You got to go to this dude. I promise you the amount of trust and business that will come from that is irreprehensible. So this is Julian Dickinson. You can find him on Twitter at Jay the Broker. I'll put that on the screen for anybody. Go give him a follow. I like a lot of his content. He calls a lot of BS out. He's built he's built agencies, he's built agents, and he's a top producer, top manager himself. So we'll dive right into this after we play the little commercial break, whatever you want to call it. So let's dive right into this. All right, man. So the stage is yours. So I know we're going to talk about captive agents and how they can go independent today. So first off, man, if you want to address kind of the biggest issues with captive agencies, because I know you like to call some shit out, I think that's your job as a man. You make a decision, you stick with it. You pick a side and you stick with it. I don't hear anybody play one side of the fence. Everyone is so like being the messenger. He said, she said. And I think that's fucking weak as a man. I think that's weak as a man. I think you should say what you mean and mean what you say. And I can really respect you because you make it a statement and you back it up. So you bring the receipts. I can always respect anyone who stands up for themselves. So what do you see as the biggest misconceptions or the biggest problems with this industry as being a captive agent?
Well, I don't want to completely dunk on being a captive agent.
Yeah, it has its use
Because
scenarios.
yeah, because so here's the thing, just to get it out of the way. And by the way, thank you for having me on here. So as far as being a captive agent is okay if you really need the direction, guidance, and if you need the training wheels, right? I know I probably wouldn't have made it myself if I wasn't captive at first because I was hard-headed. I was the kid who you'd say, hey, the iron's hot, don't touch it. And I'd say, but you know what though? What if I did? And then I would touch it and burn myself. And then, okay, I get it. It's hot. Okay. So, being in a captive company, you get a lot of direction, you get a lot of structure. You will learn how to run a business. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to start in this business, but you'll learn exactly what to do. You learn when to call, how to talk to certain clients. But that's, once you're able to go on your own, you should graduate. I've always compared it to being in either elementary or middle school. I've learned everything I can now. It's time for me to start reading Hamlet. It's time for some calculus. So that being said, a lot of the disadvantages are when you're at a captive company, and I don't know exactly if I can say names on your
I don't care what you do, man, because I'll say some off the wall shit on here, but I can back it up, and I know no one can hurt me for it. So, what are they going to do? They don't have a beard. They don't have the chest hair. They don't have the abs. They can't pick me up like I could them. They can't beat me up. They can't
They can cease and desist you, man.
That's fine.
Let me tell you, I done got
my
some
lawyer
cease and
tells me to
desists,
use
okay?
that for toilet paper, so I've gotten plenty of them.
Yeah. So, a lot of these captive companies, they'll start you off. The biggest thing, right? Most people are at, and I don't know what company you're with or where your viewership is. I don't
I'm
know if
strictly
you're
coaching now.
FFL.
I've got a lot of agents in like FFL, Symmetry, a lot of AIL people, a lot of real financial people. So I mean,
Yeah.
they're spread out. Like I'm starting to work with people from Australia now, which is so weird because it's like 16 hours ahead.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's getting out there.
So what I'll say is, every single company that is captive, because I lost my train of thought for a second. Every single company that's captive, they're going to start you out at a very low comp. all these non-captive independent places, they place a very strong emphasis on your percentage, on your comp, which I have opinions on that as well. But if I can make 25%, I'm sorry, if I'm making 25%, 30%, even 50%, and then somebody tells me I can do the exact same thing and make 100%, why on earth would I choose to make less? That's like saying, listen, here's $1. I can give you the whole dollar, or I can give you 25 cents of this dollar. That's crazy to me. Why would I make a fourth when I could make the whole thing or more? That's crazy to me. Crazy to me. But again, if you need the steering wheels, if you need the bumper rails when you're bowling, you might just have to do that at first when you don't know how to make money. But I highly encourage everybody to leave any captive situation. Another disadvantage to captive, other than just having a low compensation, is if you're at a company. I'm gonna try to be careful. I'll say like let's call it JIL, right? If you're at JIL selling whatever the kits are that you're selling at JIL at the moment, whatever the hot kit is right now, you're going to run across clients that have cancer, terminal illnesses. You're going to come across clients that, or maybe they just take too many medications, and JIL is going to say, no, they're declined. And all JIL is going to say is, did you get referrals? How many referrals did you get? A referral by itself did not make you any money. All right. I want to make money in this house. I was trained when I was at JIL to downplay companies that did guaranteed issue. They gave me this whole big thing about if someone has a guaranteed issue policy, you tell them this. And then no. JIL people got to walk away and get referrals. I can walk in, get the same referrals, and get business from that client, especially if they have cancers and stuff. A lot of them really want coverage. They just don't know where to go. All of this is confusing to a client, right? I'm sorry, daunting to a client. So
I think it's even more confusing to the agents. Like, and I don't have a problem with the agents. Like, I have a problem with the leadership at these companies because they're giving the wrong information from the top down. I know plenty of great people at AIL actually making money, helping people.
yeah,
Like, if you're getting 30% comp and you're getting free leads and you're still making 200,000 a year, like, awesome.
yeah.
But when you're agency owner, like, they're just telling you to bring in family and friends, you don't even know what the fuck you're doing. Why are you going to hurt someone else?
Exactly.
It's so product centric, and that's why I'm prospect centric.
Yeah. That's the soundbite right there.
It's disgusting though. Like, I teach prospect knowledge. I don't give a fuck about the product. It's irrelevant to me.
Look at this. That's nice. That's a bar right there.
Going on. What is that? It's called SoundCloud. We're about to drop an album.
You're absolutely right. That was one of my biggest issues. Is some of the biggest problems and you understand, anyone watching this who is at JIL or at a captive company, please understand, if somebody talks bad about the company or sheds some light, maybe they're not talking bad, but they're giving information that contradicts what you've learned or you've been programmed into. That's not a direct slight on you. You're not the owner of the company. You're not the president. You're not Steve Greer or whoever the president is over there anymore. It's not a reflection on you just because you bought in or believe the product or believe the message, right? You can still believe the message. You can still believe in the product. What I critique is some of the practices, and I'm critiquing some of the things that are getting taught. Because when I was there, it was the same thing for me. I didn't want to hear anything that anyone outside had to say. I didn't want to hear anything about higher comp. I didn't want to hear anything about my precious free leads being bait and switch. There was an answer for everything someone would say, but those answers were answers that were implanted in my mind by my upline. Oh, higher comp means higher chargebacks. It means higher pay. and higher. What are you talking about? Of course that means higher. You just told me something obvious. That's like saying, well, when you drive a car, there's a higher chance of getting hit by getting in a car accident when you drive in that car.
Higher chance of not fucking walking 18 hours to go 30 minutes down the road.
But there's a higher chance of you not having to
See,
walk.
I'm a professional linguist. Like, I understand language so well. They use double binds. X means Y. X does not mean X. X does not mean Y. It's
Yeah.
You're gonna get me started in a bunch of NLP shit. It drives me insane. But it's
that's
like,
the secret. That's the secret of how a lot of these really salesy people lure people in and trap them. I swear, like a really good friend of mine, who will probably never see this, she is still at JIL and she's got about 8 years in, and her renewals used to be huge, but they're dwindling now. And she would call me, and she stopped calling me to complain about her renewals dropping because I kept telling her the same thing. Listen, the agency you were at, that owner left. He's at FFL now. His RGA is at FFL now. A bunch of the other MGAs are all at FFL now. And a lot of those people have their book of business still. And the products that they have at JIL, some of them are okay, but largely are more expensive than any other life. I can just, I mean, Aetna, AIG, not AIG, Aetna, Mutual of Omaha, Americo. These
I
products
love
are less
Foresters. Do you have a certain
expensive.
carrier you like?
You said what?
I love Foresters. They're my favorite carrier by far, simply because a third of the people you sit with are diabetics. They give more than they take. It's a fraternal company. They actually put money back into the community. I
Yeah,
love that.
Foresters
And
is dope.
oh,
But
I get to rewrite all these Americo policies and give chargebacks because they don't charge extra for vaping or chewing tobacco. So I'll cut the rates in half.
there it is. But that's the point. The reason her renewals are going away is because you can't get residuals and renewals when the policies aren't on the books anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's, the company's not going to give you money that they just lost because a big hunk of their agents left and took the business with them. You're losing out because you know what I mean? And they churn a lot of some of them, I'll say some of the agencies, they churn a lot of their policyholders. They turn, those leads are called POSs, and all they do is like, oh, you bought a policy, let me sell you more insurance. So anywho, as good as and as smart as she is, she's one of those people who are kind of lost in the whole, well, I need to get my 10 years in so I'm fully vested, and then I'll be able to retire out of this business, I'll be able to leave. It's like the money that you are getting on the back end, that you're losing on the back end, you should have had on the front end. You should have had that money on the front end. They're making you complacent by giving you crumbs, and they're making you believe that you got to stay. That's just a tactic. You could be 100% vested day one anywhere else and make way more money up front.
Now, let's
So
talk about that, because here's the funny thing about certain companies as well, is they tell you that you're fully vested, but they'll have options with the carrier shut off for residual income, or the clients that you have, the moment you try to leave, they won't give you a release form, and they'll start giving your customers to other people. Hey, go rewrite his whole book of business. Give him chargebacks. It's like, if a motherfucker does that to me, I will show up to your house.
listen, bro. So I'll say this, because what I've learned, especially over the past 12 months, it's not the IMO as much as it's about your upline.
That's pick the hill that you're going to die on very carefully.
Yes. I am 100% a victim of pretty much anything you could imagine that could potentially be a downfall. Joining an IMO has happened with me. I joined an IMO. I did not get along with my upline. I'm a lot older than I look, so I handle things a lot differently than most people. I didn't like the way this guy talked to me. I didn't like the way he acted with my agents. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And so, I had a few conversations, calm conversations with him. kind of, asking him, hey, when you address me in a certain way, can we talk this way? Can we do this? Or, hey, can you explain X, Y, and Z? I was very polite with the guy. And eventually it just didn't work. It didn't work. And I remember having like a final conversation where I just said, it appears to me, I'll call him John. It's obvious to me, John, that we're kind of like oil and water. I don't think you're a bad person. I see the great things that you do for other people around here. I honestly just don't think that we should be doing business together. It's not working. So, best of luck to you. I'd like to be released to another agency. Obviously, they didn't want to do that. There were some other things that we discussed, but ultimately, that's what led me to leaving, or attempting to leave that IMO. Following that, I was going to save this for my podcast. Following me saying, I want to leave, I gotten, several phone calls from his upline and other people asking like, well, why do you want to leave? And we discussed it. And I'm giving you an abridged version. A lot of things happened. And they were like, well, if you're really so passionate, if you really want to leave, then we're going to protect our business. So we're going to do what we have to do. And so what we have to do was, they took
We're gonna try to fuck you.
Oh, yes. Yeah. No lubrication. They took my top agents.
Bend over. We're going in dry, Julian.
Oh, yeah. It was bad. They took my top agents, which are my agency managers. These are people I give agents to these guys. When I recruit, I don't give agents to myself. Well, sometimes, very rarely, but I give them to them. And so he took them and he bumped them up to the same comp I was at, so that
no overrides.
Then they put me on as earned, so that I would have to come crawling back if I wanted to make money. Then on top of being on as earned, on top of them removing my team from me, they put, I can't remember the name of it doesn't matter. I'd had agents that I didn't even know who they were. And all of a sudden, like, this random agent that got coded to me or one of my downline wrote business. I don't know how that happened. Never heard of this person. They wrote a little bit of business. And I'm wondering, why would they do that? Why is that a mistake? A clerical error? It hasn't happened in a year. Why do they do that? Oh, it's because if you want release and they don't give you release, you have to wait 6 months. And I think Forrester's is one of the carriers. If one of your downlines writes business, it starts your clock over. Right. So at that point, I was forced to terminate some of my contracts. It was bad. It was so bad. They called through my book of business. They and what's funny is, I have clients that are like, if I don't trust you, I'm going to record you. That's just how I always operate. If I don't trust you and we're talking about something important, I want to have a record of it, because you're not about to say that that's not what was said. It doesn't happen.
Oh, you have to protect yourself these days.
Exactly.
I don't care if it's dating. Like, look at Johnny Depp. Example enough. How many of these NBA players never done nothing wrong? They do some weird stuff in the locker room, but girls say, "Oh, he raped me. He raped me." Now he's doing 80 years in prison for something he didn't even fucking do. Your clients will do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and one of my clients recorded one of these guys calling, pretending to be the carrier. This guy literally called and said, I'm not going to say the company or the guy's name, but he said that he was part of a certain department didn't say working through, didn't say working alongside. I am with this company's such and such department, and tried to get information. And the client called me like, what is this? Why are they calling me about this?
What an idiot.
And I was like, let me hear that again. I was like, I know that guy. He didn't even hide his name. He said who he was. I'm like, no, that guy, no, ignore his phone. Block him. Caused me debt. Caused me a lot of debt. which screwed up some carrier contracts because I got a vector. So again, to go way back to your point, you really have to be careful who you pick as your upline. It's hard to do because everybody's so nice and happy when you first meet them. Everybody seems like a nice guy. I would encourage anyone to ask this person, hey, can I sit in on your call sessions? Can I audit? Most places aren't even going to let you do it. Hey, can I audit a call session before I join? Can I talk to maybe an average agent? I don't want to talk to your top agent. Can I talk to one of your average agents? Something like that to get a feel for it.
Screen them. You interview them.
Exactly. Because I promise you're not going to miss out on an opportunity. They're going to make you feel like, well, let's do it. You're going to miss out. Nah, no. They're
creating fake scarcity. It's fake scarcity.
Yeah.
And it's so disingenuous because I'm just going to be transparent. 99% of the uplines out there just fucking suck. And that's not to put them down, but it's like it's truly 1% of people who have good intention. So they have efficacy and integrity. They know how to get you there without screwing you over, and they put your best interest at heart. 1% of people. So here's my question to you, because I see so many agents get stuck in this loop. I was as well. How can they get out of these contracts and releases and maybe find, like, here's what I recommend: doing organic business. Learn how to network yourself, build an organic business that grows word of mouth. You have relatively low chance for chargebacks. You don't have to buy leads, because if you understand your client, your avatar better than anybody else, you'll grow a quadratic business, just word of mouth. You won't have to worry about where the next lead is coming from. Yep. But also, no one can give you chargebacks because no one has your book of business. So I know with certain carriers like Mutual of Omaha, you can put in an intent to transfer and go to another carrier.
Let me say this. It's very important whether you have just a Google spreadsheet, Excel form, or a CRM. As far as, what Mason's saying about keeping your book of business, keep all of your client records very intact, because no matter what, unless you are working direct to carrier, which no one, that's like not impossible, but you have to raise a lot of business to do that. You have some sort of upline, and even though it's your book of business, if whoever is getting overrides on you can also see that business. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
That's why it's important to figure out if you can trust the person. And if you have these records, it's easier for you to contact your clients versus having to sort through where you got a chargeback from and then talk to this person again. So that's important. But as far as what you were asking me about, like, tips to get released, if you can't avoid working for somebody terrible, there's a loophole that I know I'm not even allowed to talk about it. There's one small loophole with, like, Mutual of Omaha. A lot of people can't even do it, so I'm not going to get.
Well, I know I got out of some stuff with putting in an intent to transfer with carriers.
Yeah. So you can put in
that was a big workaround. You can terminate your contracts, but let's play the scenario out that you're just stuck where you are.
Okay.
You love the culture. You're with a bad upline. Here's the unfortunate truth, guys. No one is coming to save you. Yeah, no one is waking up in the morning and saying, I'm going to go pay Julian's bills. I'm going to work his, no, you're by yourself. And I don't want them having any type of control over my business anyways. So break away from your calls. I don't give a fuck about your culture or your rah-rah, your hype sessions talking about product. If you're spending 12 hours a week on calls talking about pointless bullshit, there's only two things that matter: getting in front of people, getting them to make decisions. That's
pretty much it. But yeah, you can always avoid your upline. That's
what I mean. Break away from the calls. You are a 1099 independent contractor. You can do what the fuck you want. And if you're worried about their opinion, because 90% of our thinking comes from other people, you don't want higher comp because you get higher charge. But don't believe anything that they say. No one knows the context of your life better than you. And if you spot, let's let's say Julian was I was Julian's upline, and I did $4,000 of production a month. Julian, do you think you will ever learn how to run more than $4,000 of business a month?
You make very good points.
Look at their life. They're taking out $15,000 of loans to pay for sponsors and pointless, frivolous bullshit. They cheat on their wives at events. They get drunk, and no 18, 19-year-old girl wants anything to do with them anyways. They're with their wife because that's all they can get. Like, look at the quality of their life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think they know how to help you? No.
No.
So have some brain. I know TikTok has killed everyone's attention span. The scamdemic taught everyone that they can't trust their eyes. Like, you can't trust what you see anymore. I didn't see dead bodies all over the fucking place in 2020. I saw a bunch of people with Walmart bags over their head, people cutting shit, like cutting holes in those watermelon jars. Look at the pictures of some of these fucking masks that people wore.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get on the political
I'm not, but it's like
with COVID.
Trust
but I
yourself.
will say
that's it.
I will say if let's play this scenario where you want to get out from your upline because he sucks. Like I could have ignored my hatred for that guy, but I was at this moral place where I didn't want him to get any money from me.
Same here.
You have not earned my respect, so you're not earning any money off of me. So one of the things you can do is find a carrier that your upline does not have and get it elsewhere. And you can write business on that carrier for 6 months. That's one of the easiest things to do. People who are like FFL, for instance, that's a little bit more difficult. If let's say it's Gerber. Your FFL upline doesn't have Gerber, but someone else in FFL has Gerber. That's still that they will not let you do that. They won't let you do that. You need to find an upline outside of your IMO who has something. For instance, I don't know, if you're at FFL, I 99% guarantee you do not have quality level term, which is ultimately a very big competitor to an Americo product. It's very cheap.
Yes, It's through SBLI and underwritten by Efficiency. Like, I kept my contract when I left Symmetry. Different product name, but I got a raise on my compensation when I left. Like, I'm still contracted because even though I'm not directly selling insurance anymore, I'm in the coaching and consulting space. I know other coaches who make tons of money that I can write annuities, IULs, whatever on. Now I can sell 10 clients instead of 500 and make the same amount of money.
Yeah. So it's just important to understand your options. You know, people like I said, if you're at FFL, or there's another company that's real big with Americo as well. And let's say, again, a lot of their bonuses and stuff are based around Americo, and you just want to leave. Like, I know several people who have, like I said, that quality level term product. If you're a person who sells a lot of Americo, like I said, you don't want to be under that guy. Cool. You got other options anywhere else of a product that is very, very, very similar, that pays just as fast, where you can depart. Because all it takes is 6 months of you not writing business, but you do have to terminate those carrier contracts. You have to terminate, because the last thing you want is anything sneaky to happen with your contracts while you just have them open. You know, people writing business under you to try to get you, locked in longer. They're going to put you on as earned if you don't want to be part of their group anyway. So it's not like you're going to make as much money. So you might as well just get a contract elsewhere that's outside of that company. And then, hey, you might even find a better home outside. But if you don't, that's fine too. You've got this other product. There's so many other options that you could do to get out without you having to sacrifice your integrity, your morals, or your own self-respect by getting berated or have to do that. No, it's not at all necessary.
It's not even worth it. Julian, do you want to know an easy way to not get chargebacks in this business, or not as much?
What's that?
Don't write Americo. I love Andrew Costas, but when I see people just writing Americo, you're like, you can get this guy a forester's policy for half of the amount, but because you are so worried about this trip, you're like, come put your money in my pocket bank so I can get this commission raise and this all expenses. Like, your clients are going to find someone like me who come in there and cut the rate in half for double the coverage, and they're going to be like, I don't trust that guy anymore.
Yeah.
You want a lot of chargebacks, just write America on everybody. No offense to Andrew Costas. I love him, but America's not always the answer.
I encourage everybody to learn advanced markets, because let's, even if for whatever reason, let's say Americo's CBO 100 was like the best.
No, if it's the best option, 100% do that, but always put the prospect first.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, if you learn IULs, and the person, I mean, obviously depending on the premium and the client and stuff like that, you can put someone in an IUL, especially if they're a mortgage protection client. You can put somebody in an IUL and treat it like mortgage protection, and it's going to be twice as effective, because all those CBOs are they're not terms. People think they're actually terms because that's the way they're illustrated and made, but they're just ULs.
Well, that's why you have to have errors and omissions insurance to sell it.
Yep. So it's just thinking outside of the box. Do you think outside the box? You can help the client with several of the tools in your toolbox. You don't have to be a one-trick pony. I do understand the appeal behind a lot of
to a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Exactly.
What you got? What do you need? You need mortgage protection? Got this nice CBO. What do you need? You need income protection? Got this nice CBO over here. What you need? Life insurance? I got this nice CBO.
You got cancer?
You got cancer? I can still get
your let's put it in. Let's put it in.
Yeah, so that's, it's I celebrate anybody out here who might be watching who writes business and is doing stuff for their family. It's just really thinking about what's in your best interest, and doing what's right for the client, then doing what's right.
Well, the only reason I bring that up is because I'm focused on outlasting the competition. That's the goal of business. To outlast the competition. How do I do that? Consumer centric. I'm always trying to make the customer journey easier, the buying experience better, because that's how you get referrals. You can drive down customer acquisition cost. And if everyone knows you as the best, they're going to come to you. It's playing the long game. You're always running two businesses, the one you're in and the one you're becoming. It's people get so short-sighted by fucking advances, they never consider what it's doing to their future. If you're always reliant on someone else's lead system, what happens the moment all these interest rates double in the next 6 months for mortgage protection? You think people are going to be buying homes? You think your mortgage protection leads are going to stick around? No. And all these mortgage brokers selling this shit are going to come get their insurance license. Now the cost of your leads double and the quality gets driven down.
Exactly.
Good fucking luck.
Yep.
It's disgusting. Everyone is so short-sighted.
But I don't blame agents. That's
I don't,
because
they were sold a fucking pipe dream.
Yeah, that's why my TikTok is very new agent centric, because I too was led to believe certain things. When I, for the first few years in the business, I was led to believe that that whole life was the solution for everyone. The company I worked for, they led me to believe that their rates were the best, and that they were exclusively working with a certain group of union members.
Exclusive. I love that word.
That the leads were the best because the leads were free, so you couldn't beat it. That, so many things you get led to believe. And then once you start asking questions, you get ostracized. Once you start learning things, you get ostracized. But the biggest problem is, once you learn something, you can't unlearn it. You can't unhear it.
Exactly. Go be a truth seeker. I don't care if it's politics, marriage, insurance. If you find someone who will be transparent with you, that's someone I'd want to work with. Someone's like, well, here's the truth. I don't care if you like it or not. I'm not responsible for how you manage your feelings. Like, this is just how it is.
Yep. You're right.
Don't buy into this people spoon feeding you and doing the airplane shit like they do for kids with the baby food. Don't believe into this spoon fed shit.
Yeah, and then also and again I empathize because I was that agent.
Well, I empathize, but I do not sympathize because most people they just do what they're told.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of fear. I know there's a lot of fear in the unknown, being going to a different company, going to a different agency, getting something new started. When it's like, I'm making money here, why would I go elsewhere? You become, once you've learned that whatever you're offering is not the cheapest, and once you learn that people over 60 do not automatically have to have a graded policy, once you learn that you're selling people things that are way more expensive or not the best value, or there may be issues with what you're offering, you are no longer morally you're almost obligated to make a change in what you're doing, because if not, you're complicit.
You're an accessory to crime.
Exactly. And even if you don't care about being complicit, it's just like you said earlier, someone's going to come back there and they're going to sell them something better. They're going to sell them something better. Someone's going to walk in that house.
Oh, dude, 50% of my business was replacements. The first thing I did was, do you have an existing policy? Oh, who's it from? Let's look at it. Well, they put you're a non-smoker on here. This policy's not even going to fucking pay out. Did you know that? Okay, here's what we're going to do instead. 10 minutes, I'm in and out. Just made $2,000 because someone else lied. Idiot.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Happens all the time.
Loyalty is so skewed in this industry.
There's barely any.
No, but that's why I'm no longer sympathetic. Like, one, you should have some common fucking street smarts and say that, someone who's making $2,000 a month is going to teach me how to make 30. Where does this add up? Like, trust yourself. You have everything you need to be successful. I don't care where you are. I trust in you as a person to do what's best for you, because when people give you advice, they're really just telling you what they would want to tell themselves. So ask yourself, do they want what's in my best interest? And do they know how to screw me over? Or do they know how to get me where I want to go? Like, why are they telling me this?
Yep.
Because they do not know the context of your life better than you do. Yep. But it's like, people just want an easy way out. People want to be led naturally. And I understand that. I am empathetic, but I will not sympathize. You know there's something better. It might be harder. I don't believe in doing the easy shit. I'm a fucking man, regardless of how I feel. I'm going to get up and do what I need to. Fuck your feelings, young man. You have a responsibility to your family. It's disgusting. This industry is so skewed with bad information from the top down. I'm not coming for agents' head. I'm coming from the people telling them and putting this bullshit in there. Yeah. Because I love, like, you're way more empathetic than I am. Like, I'll just give you that credit right now.
Well, I don't sympathize with people. I sucked. The thing is, I sucked, right? I was not good. That's where it comes from, is I was not good. And so I know what it takes to turn somebody, and I don't mean in all facets of my life. I was very successful before I got here, and I was just very hard-headed. So when I talk to agents and I see their struggles, I understand where it comes from. However, let me show you how to get out of it. For instance, there's a couple of guys I know that they do lead generation for people, and I'd use them. I'd been successful with them. And it's actually a pinned video on my TikTok, me saying, hey, listen, they didn't tell me to do this, by the way. They didn't offer anything. I even talked about a CRM that I liked. If I like it and I use it, if it's worked for me, I'm going to talk about it. Right. So anyway, I posted it on my TikTok. I talked to them, and they were doing, at the time, some financing options for agents, because what they're doing is very expensive, but most new agents can't afford it. So they were doing some financing. I told some people on my team about it. I posted some stuff about it on TikTok. And, I said, hey, look, this is what it is. a bunch of people sign up. And I had at the time a couple of my newer agents. One of them wasn't newer at all. He'd been forever on the squad, but just not doing anything. That's another story. Anyway, so a couple of the people sign up. They do nothing with it. The guys who do this program, they actually train you too. They have several trainings. So if you buy their program, not only are you going to be able to have leads generated for you, but they will show you how to work the leads. They show you the ad campaign that they run. They show you everything. So this one agent was really upset because he'd had no traction. No one was clicking the ad, nothing. So I start asking him critical questions. I said, hey, so what does your ad say? Oh, well, I changed it a little bit because I didn't like the verbiage. Well, the verbiage,
not about what you like.
Yeah. So the proven successful method, you didn't do it. I say, oh, number one, fix the ad so it says exactly what theirs is supposed to say. Okay, are you paying for ad spend on Facebook? Oh, well, I put my daily limit at $1. What was the suggested limit?
50.
Oh, it was, well, I can't remember what he said, but I was like, bro, you got to do what was suggested because this is what was proven to be successful. All right. Have you gone to their trainings? Oh, I went to all their trainings. All of them? Well, all but like 3 of them. So you didn't go to all their trainings. You didn't go all their trainings. You're not on my trainings. You're not doing the ads the way they said. You're not, you know what I'm saying? Like there's several things. I'm like, this is the problem. You feel like the advice is just a suggestion. And I know why your mind is freaking out because it doesn't seem you're worried about risk. You're risk averse, and that's fine. But don't blame anyone else. So anybody watching, if you got an upline that says to be up at a certain time and start dialing and you think it's cute to dial an hour later, cool. You're going to get the results that you've been getting while your upline and the other people who are up early and doing what they're supposed to do are going to get the results they've been getting. If you want to do something exceptional, you have to do what exceptional people do. You can't do what you do. You can't do what your friends over there who are complaining are doing. Because all the complainers,
Stay away from fucking negativity. It is infectious. It is cancer. It spreads. Stay away from it. I don't care if it's your upline or your mom. Get it out of your life.
Yep.
But that's the beauty of having a coach. That's the beauty of having a coach.
Absolutely right.
Like I'm by far the best at what I do. I have not seen other insurance coaches learn neurolinguistic programming, like I'm a professional linguist. I know the power of words. When I help someone like Johnny Nittifin write 100 grand in a month, people who've never wrote business in a year start getting $7,000-8,000 in a weekend. I'm like, huh. But it's like I've got so narrowed down on my coaching process that you watch these videos, you take these beliefs, you listen to this hypnosis audio, which I don't see anyone else doing. I give hypnosis audios to all my clients. And when I see them completely different people the next week, they start making sales. But I preach organic marketing because if you don't have to pay for leads, why do it? So I teach people how to get a proven process for yourself. You learn the process for yourself because my secrets for success are not going to be Julian's secrets for success.
Right.
What works for him will not work for you or me or anybody else. You have to find your own process because then it's rinse and repeat. You mark off a checklist that you get from me every day. You start getting 5 sales calls booked a day. It's not rocket science, it's brain science. I think I'm the first one that coined that quote. It's going on my grave, even if it wasn't mine, but I'm claiming it because no one can come take it from me anyways.
You know, it's funny. When I met you, I was not sure about you.
Most people aren't.
Well, this is why though. It's because because I'm still in the middle of this lawsuit with Secure Agent Marketing. And so at the time I'd made like 3 videos talking about how angry I still am about about the fact that I'd spent $20,000 up front with them and didn't get what I paid for. And so I made some videos about it. But as I made videos about it, I started getting weird messages from people and like people on my TikTok always want me to call them. But so I call people. One guy I talked to, and it was so crazy. Like some of these people had like just made their Instagram or just made something, just made an account. It was so weird. I'm like, you have no followers, but you just followed me today just to DM me to talk to me. And now the first question out of your mouth is, who do you use for leads? Because I was thinking about using secure agent marketing. What do you think about them?
What
And
a
so,
coincidence.
yeah, I'm like, really? And so I didn't like, there were several people that, like one guy specifically wouldn't get off the topic. I remember getting upset because I was like, well, I'm actually in the middle of a lawsuit. I don't really want to talk about it because, you know, I don't know you, you don't know me, but I'll tell you, do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. I personally won't be using them again. So what else can I help you with? So then the guy asked me a different question. And as I'm answering it, he goes, but why wouldn't you use them again? I'm like, bro, like, so
Keep poking
it
the
was like
bear.
that. So when I spoke to you for the first time, my bad, my agents keep calling me.
No,
So when I spoke to you the first time, you'd ask me about them. So all my spidey senses are
it's just a
tingling.
pattern. It's just a
All the red
pattern.
flags are
I don't
going
take
up.
it personal.
And so, yeah, as you're talking to me, I'm Googling you, right? I'm like, let me see who this guy is. Then I look on your Instagram and you're shaking hands with Cody Askins. I'm like, you know him.
Like, hell no.
That's why I told you. I said, well, look, bro, I don't know. You know Cody. You might as well talk to him yourself.
I was at that point where I was spending a lot of money with him, and like people started messaging me in the group asking me about things, and I'm gonna trust my own eyes and my own judgment. I love Cody as a person. Like, I'm not gonna buy that stuff anymore. I don't need it at all. And it's like when I see him getting blasted in these groups, I'm like, I want to distance myself from that fucking negativity. I'm not being accused of associated, like, no, guilty by association. I'm not being, because I'm trying to do something completely different than he is. I don't care like about the events or anything about that. I want you to find a process that's going to work for you, guaranteed, as long as you do the work. That's my guarantee. It works if you do 100% of the time. It's going to work for you as long as you want it to. It's all organic. It's going to build you into the person that you want to be. And it's like, I don't have time for fucking crybabies or babysitting. If you're ready to build a profitable business, get your marriage on track, make sure your kids respect you now. Like that's who I'm for. You want to hypnotize yourself? Mike Tyson did it. Like, I'll teach you to be whatever you want to be, and I'll get you there in 90 days or less, as long as you're willing to work for it. So if that's you, shoot me a message. I don't care what it takes. It's not cheap because it's worth it. But no, I completely understand what you're talking about, though. It's like spidey senses were tangling. This dude's talking about Cody.
Yeah, that was my thing. Like I'd gotten so many people who called me about that, and so many people, and I just tell them the same thing. I told everybody the same thing. I'm like, look, I will not deal with them anymore. They didn't generate not one lead for me when, as part of that was the whole reason I spent the money.
I'm staying away from all this lead gen shit.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I mean, that was 2021, but at the same time, I wasn't with it.
So you were hesitant about me back then. What's your transparent opinion now? Because for anyone on here, we've only talked on the phone about what we were going to discuss on here. So I'd love to hear it.
No, I mean, you seem good now. You haven't reached back out asking me about Cody. Like,
that was next conversation, man.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, he reached out to me at the beginning of my suit. So at the time I was just specifically TikTok, and I had an Instagram, but I wasn't using it. Like a Instagram, and I wasn't using it. Like, I didn't check it. I don't have my notifications set up for social media. So, I mean, but all he said was, hey man, I don't deal with something like, I can't remember exactly what he said. It was very short. It was like, I'm not affiliated with them anymore, but if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know.
What do you mean? They're in the same building.
Say what?
They're in the same fucking building. How's he not affiliated?
I can go to my Instagram.
I guess legally, but oh well.
I mean, all I told him was, I said, hey, just now seeing this. It was like a month later. I said, just now seeing this, but really there's nothing that I need you to do, but tell them to give me my money back. He never responded.
Well, I think they all have a no refund policy. I love Cody as a person. I think if you get value, then you should invest in that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not getting value, then stop wasting your fucking money.
They don't have a no refund policy. They may now. They might now.
That was in all the contracts that I've signed for anything is no refunds.
There wasn't a no refund on what I signed. They had the contract was very it was very one-sided. It was one of those things where like they could terminate the contract without giving, whatever. Like it was kind of like if I was doing the month-to-month thing, for instance, the terminology seemed as if I was doing month-to-month, then I didn't pay them or something, they could terminate the agreement, which is fair, but there was really nothing. There's nothing on the consumer side to really protect them. There was some things about like a fee, I believe, that was in there, but I don't know. I've been trying my best to avoid, even though this is going on the internet, but all the information.
Yeah, well, this isn't talking shit. This is experience. No one can negate your experience.
It was not a good one.
That's your truth. Some people get help. Some people get hurt. Like I said, if they help you, keep doing it.
Keep going.
Do what's best for you. But if it's not and it's hurting you, why stay in that relationship?
Yeah.
So, dude, I really appreciate you coming on here. We'll have to do this again. Where can people find you besides on TikTok? And what's your final piece of advice before we close this out? I've got to jump on a coaching call.
I do too. My final piece of advice is just don't give up. Don't give up. A lot of people miss their blessing because they give up right before they got it.
6 inches away from gold. You cannot lose if you do not quit. Do not block your own blessings. Yep.
And there's no such thing as a destination. It's all just a big journey. So don't feel like I have to get to this place. No. You learning, writing business and everything like that is part of the journey. If you fall in love with the journey, you're going to make money every single time. But as far as where to find me, I'm Jay the Broker on TikTok. I'm also on Facebook. I'm sorry. I'm also on YouTube. Don't Blame the Leads on YouTube. I started a podcast. I have not posted any of the podcasts yet. But
well, dude, I'll send this to you for you to cut up whatever you want with it and go from there. But I love how you're talking about the journey, because this is my favorite quote that I got from Alex Hormozy. Your work works on you more than you work on it. Iron sharpens iron all day long, baby.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is. But, dude, appreciate you being on here. You guys go follow Don't Blame the Leads and Jay the Broker on TikTok. I'll catch you here soon, man. I'm going to play this outro. I'll let you hop on your call and I'll get on mine. Appreciate you, buddy.